Hello, hello. Welcome to Houdini Hangout, everybody. Hope you're having a great day, night, whatever time of day it is for you. Hope it's going well. And welcome to the stream. My name's Peter. I am the host of the stream. And tonight we're going to be taking a look at a fun kind of dust explosion type thing. I had felt like I had done something like this before. Maybe I had. It's kind of hard to remember. Oh my gosh, it's 3:30 a.m. here. Wow. Dude, that's crazy. Hey, Zach, how's it going? Wow, 3:30. Well, hey, hope you aren't dozing off while I'm chatting here. So welcome. Hey, Known, welcome. So like I said, I thought I had done something sort of like this before. Maybe I have. I've done a lot of streams, so it's kind of hard to keep track of them all. I went and searched and I was like, I didn't see this. And so it was a suggestion from somebody on the Discord server. So as a reminder, there is a Discord server. You can go to HoudiniHangout.com, get an invite there. There's lots of people on there, lots of questions, comments, and stuff like that. I try to help as much as I can, but oftentimes other people jump in and help, and it's super great and lots of good conversations and things like that. So it's always cool to see people helping each other out. That's kind of the whole point. So that's learning. So if you want to join in the Discord, you can join there, give topic suggestions, things like that. This topic suggestion was from, I just lost my Discord. Where'd it go? Hold on. Sorry. I think this one was from ABX, I believe. Yep. And they said, they wanted to do something like this. So, 2901. Interesting. 129. Yeah, probably. Huh. Interesting. I guess, maybe it would be a pyro thing. Huh. Well, anyways, we're going to talk about it. We'll do it. I have some ideas. Maybe I'll do it differently. I have no idea. If it's a duplicate, my apologies. I try my best to remember what the heck I've done, but either way, we'll come through some interesting things one way or another. Anyways, let's do that. And before we jump into that, it's kind of some exciting news coming up. It was on the Houdini side effects website. If you look at SIGGRAPH 2025, you'll see here it says join us for our first look at Houdini 21. So that'll be exciting. So at SIGGRAPH, there will be some information about Houdini 21, and should be very exciting. So lots of information here for you to check out if you're going to be in Vancouver. Unfortunately, I won't be there this year. Lots of great talks coming. Lots of good stuff. Should be a lot of fun. A great lineup of people speaking. So SIGGRAPH 2025 should be a good one. Lots of interesting stuff and side effects things. Come out and say hi to the team that's there. I'm sure they'll be happy to get you some swag or whatnot. So that is that's the kind of overall side effects information. So for tonight, if you guys have any questions, comments, trying to get a passport in time. Wow. Well, good luck. I mean, you got not much time, a couple weeks. Excuse me. Hey, Lord, welcome. Hi. Nice to have you. You need a new Houdini t-shirt. I've got, I've collected quite a few now, but I can always have more. It's like kind of like whenever I'm on a trip or anything like that, I need as many as I can so that I don't have to worry about doing laundry or anything like that. But Houdini t-shirts, good. It's always good stuff. So for tonight, if you guys are, if you're, it used to be my entire wardrobe. That's amazing. So if you guys are, have questions or comments or anything like that, please feel free to throw them in the chat. I'm always kind of keeping an eye on that as I'm working, just for ideas or thoughts or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not I'm not the foremost expert here in Houdini. I don't know everything. I do my best to kind of give some good information, but you guys always have good suggestions and feedback as well as we're going. So yeah, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And if you have questions, comments, anything like that, happy to chat with you there. I'm just seeing somebody say here, do you know where I could find a photo Side Effects took at the after party this year's Houdini Hive in Barcelona at Off Festival? It was like a group photo with attendees. Ooh, that's a great question. You'd have to ask somebody. I wasn't there. You'd have to ask somebody from the marketing team. There is you might be able to find somebody on one of the public like Discords and things like that. That would probably be the best place to ask, because I do not know, and it would probably take me a while to track that down. So yeah, maybe ask in one of the public Discord, see if there's any Side Effects staff in those. I think there's like an official Houdini Discord that's out there for people that have the software. So you might be able to find some stuff there or on the Think Procedural one. Yeah, but I do not know the answer to that. So unfortunately, I don't have any information on that. So sorry about that. Yeah, it's you got to get an invite to it, but it should be for anybody that has a license. So, yeah, that's what I've been told, at least. So, anyways, great. So let's jump in and start in the emails. Oh, there you go. Check your emails. There you go. Nice. Yeah, I think if you've purchased a license, maybe there's an invite in there. That would be my guess. But yeah, that's a great place to go and get lots of good information as well. Too many Discords for me to check, but yes, I'm not super active on that one just because I have my own, and there's other ones that I'm in, and just crazy. Anyways, all right, let's jump in and take a look at what we're going to look at tonight. So, ABX had given us a couple suggestions here. This is going to be more along the lines of what we're doing. Sorry, the compression's like really, really bad on this. Probably because I'm like scaling it up and it's Instagram and I'm looking at it on my computer. But I think this gives us a pretty good idea of like what we're going to go for. Something along the lines of this. Obviously we're not going to get into this kind of detail. This is an actual explosion, I think. I think this is real. And this was another one that he had dropped in there, or she, I guess I don't know. But this is similar. It's not quite, what we're going to do, because I want to get some more cool, fun colors in there, but gives you kind of an idea. It's a nice burst. This is a neat project, too, because it's got some behind the scenes and shows a little bit of interesting stuff about what it was that they were doing and how they were doing it. So, yeah, this will be a little bit more along the lines of like what it is that we'll be doing here. So yeah, let's jump in. Let's take a little dive and see what we can come up with here tonight. So, I just saw one more question. Anyone heard any more news about that amazing Fabric cloth plugin? I've heard a little bit about it, but I don't know what the current state of it is. Let me Google it. Why not? Do old Google search. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it was shared a couple months ago. So my guess is it's probably still under active development. I'm not sure though. It's pretty cool. Oh, interesting. This is like on the Side Effects YouTube. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, I'm guessing it's probably still coming out. Yeah, I bet you they will, Cavalli. If they'll release a beta soon. Bet you it. I don't know. I was just assuming. I guess I don't know if they're going to release it or not. I would assume that they would if they're saying it's like a tool for it. Like, you know, people might do something to release it. Yeah, I think that would be pretty neat. I hope they do. That seems cool. I saw those images of it and it seemed really good. So, all right. All right, all right, all right. Let's get in. Let's add some geometry here. Let's get going. Um, let's call this sim dust explosion. And let's go in here. And I'm going to use the pyro burst. Obviously, that seems like a pretty straightforward thing to do. The pyro burst is a great tool for doing, you know, explosions and things like that, but also we could use it for this type of a situation where we have a, you know, dust cloud ball thing coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the spread angle up just so we have more of a spherical thing, because as you can see here, we can kind of point it in one direction or we can spread it all the way around. So 180 should go both directions. We've got a nice kind of spherical thing going on. I'm also going to change my backgrounds. Give me just 1 second here. Let's do that. I think that should make it a little easier for everybody to see. Sorry, the compression will probably freak out with all these dots. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to take out the number of components here, because what this is going to be doing is really kind of adding in different you know, components for the pyro sim. I guess we could possibly add in some temperature, but I don't really want this rising at all. So I think I'm mainly just going to have density in here. Cool, Gideon. Congrats. That's awesome. Very cool. Could also add some color in here if we wanted to and do some noise with it, things like that. So we could certainly do that as well. But I think I'm going to do this a little bit differently. So let's do it like this. Let's go here to the burst shape. Yeah, you can add color in there. Yeah, for sure. The only thing that's a little weird about it, when you do that, is when you go to color here. Oh, that's weird. It wasn't coloring it a second ago. Right? Am I losing my mind? Oh, right. I don't have density on. It's like, hello? It's not coloring the actual density points. So that's kind of strange to me. I don't love that idea. I'd probably prefer it to be in each of those points. So we can color it in here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have this burst, you know, this is going to be our source, and let's take some of these. Maybe we'll do this down a bit. 0.5, that's probably good. Maybe 0.6, maybe somewhere in there. You can also adjust the thickness of these here, right? You can make them like, hello, Mr. Hangout. My name's Peter. Hello, who cares? Welcome. So we can obviously make these a bit sharper. We can make them super thick and weird and blobular. So we can kind of go maybe somewhere in 0.2 range. I don't know, something like that. We can also change the number of trailings. We can go down to like, say something like 50. That might be a bit more, or maybe like 75, you know, somewhere in that range. The other thing we could do here is we could do a different shape if you wanted to. So we could randomize this a bunch of different ways. It's actually kind of a nice shape. Don't mind that. We can change things like the roundness and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably going to change the roundness a little bit, maybe something like 0.175. I don't know, somewhere in there, maybe 0.2. And we can change the trailing lengths as well. We could change these to be just like little spikes that are going out like this. That's, you know, you could do that as well if you wanted to. I think what I'm going to do is leave the whole thing kind of like a trail. And I think that'll be fine for our needs here. I'm also going to change the burst animation. I think I want it to be a little quicker. even though that looks insanely quick. I want it to be a little bit like quicker. Like I want it to get to its full shape a little bit quicker. So we'll go down a couple frames here. So it's just kind of boom. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to mess with this expansion, because if we look at this, even though there's like this ramp down, it's pretty linear if you watch each of these pieces as they're moving, right? Like they're going linear. Obviously, there's going to be some drag to it and things like that. But what I really want to do is make this linear, right? I don't want it to be ramping like this, because what I want to actually do is put this into a pop simulation and let it spread out some more. Maybe turn this down to like 120 frames here. So now we've got a shorter bit that we're working with, right? And I want to make this linear here. So let's do that. Let's change this to linear, and let's do this like so. And that should hopefully get us a little bit more, sort of in line with, hey, accessible, welcome. I should get us a little bit more in line with how that burst should actually be. Let's do this. Let's do a pop network, and we can just maybe start seeing how this is going to look. We'll just call this particles. Let's go inside here. We have to change this to be not scatter on surfaces, but we're going to say all points. What this will do is each frame, it will take the points as like inputs. So it will actually make more particles than this pyro burst source is going to have. So if we look at this, we see that now we have, a lot more particles here. And we have them all sort of going over, they're all kind of, moving linearly in space. Wow. Is that Portuguese? Is that what that is? All right. So one thing, I was kind of just screwing around with this for a second earlier, and I think what we want to do is when we're birthing these, I think we want to do these with an interpolation. Oh, French. Shows my knowledge. Might help a little bit here to maybe make there be a little bit less of these like distinct shapes happening here. Maybe just make it a little bit more even. All right. So that's good. Let's come in here and also do a pop. Let's do a pop wind, actually. I was going to say pop drag, but I wanted to move around a little bit, because pop drag is only going to, slow it down. It's not going to be able to add anything else really into it. And the pop wind also kind of acts as a drag in a way, because there's air resistance. So let's turn that way down. I don't know, 0.1 maybe? Let's see. Yeah, you can see how much this is slowing down, right? So we're adding a little bit of air resistance in here. So we could maybe even go to like 0.05. Then we're going to mainly get this like nice burst here, and it's going to spread out and do its thing. Yep. The other thing too to note is that this is quite large. We might want this. Yeah, pop wind, we can actually influence the particles in their movement. Right now, the amplitude is 0 on the noise. So this is large, though. This is quite a large explosion, but I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll be fine. So let's do this. Let's add a little bit of amplitude in here and see what happens. I'm going to put this to 1 and see if we get any real movement. I kind of have a feeling we won't see a whole lot, because this air resistance is also multiplying on this. So I think we're going to have to go up a little bit with this. So let's kind of keep moving until we start to see some response here. I'm seeing a little bit, I think, actually, now. It's very small because the noise is tiny. Let's do this. Let's up the swirl size. Like, let's go way up with it. See if we see anything here. Yep, I'm starting to see some stuff happening. Yep. So maybe we do 2 here. Honestly, 3 might be fine. And let's go up a little higher with this. Maybe 10 for the swirl size. Get kind of, because I want it to be kind of like these loose shapes. I don't want it to be too tight. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think we're getting some little like movements and stuff in there. Yeah, I like that. It starts out pretty linear and then it kind of gives it a little bit of something interesting there at the end. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So the other thing I want to mess with is, you can see here we have this checkbox, ignore mass, right? And that usually makes sense because you want your particles to all be kind of interacting in the same way. Sorry, didn't put my do not disturb on here. Hey, yeah, cool effects. Yeah. Time to upgrade to the 9000. I would like to. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, we went on a kind of big vacation this year, so that derailed any plans I had for workstation, but also you can't buy any components for computers right now, which really sucks. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yes, the 9000 series came out. I didn't see anything about the non-pro Threadrippers and their pricing, but I might have just not. It probably came out today. I just wasn't looking very much today. I was kind of busy. But yes, I did see that. So I would probably go with the same generation, the same thing I did here, which would be the 9970, because I have a 3970, which is crazy to think that's how many. Well, it's not that many generations. It's like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. It's like 3 or 4. So I would really love it. But anyways, sorry, I'm just turning my do not disturb on here for a couple hours. Turn that on. Great. But anyways, yes, that would be awesome. I actually think that, you're saying the 9980. I actually think that for a lot of Houdini stuff, unless you're doing a ton of like CPU rendering, it's actually a little bit better to get the higher single core speed up. And that'll help with a lot of things that aren't multi-threaded. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. No, dude, don't be sorry. I love talking about, hardware stuff. That's one of my favorites. But yes, cool. Welcome as well. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so we've got this going here, and what I want to do is let's do a, because this is a pyro burst source, it doesn't have here under the components, it doesn't have an easy way to add in something like mass, right? We have density, which is fine, but we want to add mass, right? That's what we'd like to do, because if we change the mass of these particles, some of them, like if you think about it, if you have a heavy rock and a light feather, the light feather is going to be blown around by the wind a lot more than the heavy rock. And that's where the mass being affected is going to happen. So having some of these particles as larger and not being affected by that wind will be kind of nice, because we could have some that get, blown around a little bit, and some that are just like heavy and just kind of rocket through. So that's what I want to do here. So let's do this. Let's do an attribute adjust float. We'll drop that down. Let's do some noise here. This we can call mass because it'll know what to do with it. So this is going to be our mass of this pyro burst. Interesting. Just realizing that that burst is larger. It's because of the velocity, I'm guessing, and it's like, yeah. I was gonna say, is it all that? But no, it's not really. It's just the oh, that's interesting. That might actually do the thing. That's kind of nice. Keeps it a little bit closer to that. Let me just see what that does over the next couple frames here. Yeah, nice. Okay. Anyways, sorry, mass. So we have this mass attribute here. We have noise on it. Let's visualize this and we can see what we got going on here. Hey, look, we're getting some fun colors. Oh, cool question, Enya. Or yeah, we'll just go with Enya. 1 second, I'm gonna finish my coffee. The question is, excuse me, how often do I use wrangles? Nah, you didn't miss much. So the question about wrangles in my Sims, I try not to too much when I'm doing these live streams, just because I feel like it makes it a little bit harder to watch. And if there's a way to do something that's a little bit more straightforward, I think that's better. Like, it's better to understand the concept than like, hey, here's the exact syntactical thing that you have to type in, right? Like, I think that can be an annoying thing to have to like deal with. But I do use wrangles, for sure. Like, whenever I make simulations or have done things in the past, yeah, wrangles are super helpful. So it's not that I wouldn't use them. It just depends. Like, if there's something that I can do that's simpler, I'll use that. But if not, then yeah, we could go and do some wrangles. Let's see. Do we not use any expression with particles? I think it's an amazing and fun part. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is fun. I agree. Doing like expressions is pretty cool. But for right now, I don't think I'll really need to. It's just a little bit of wind and just a little bit of, simple stuff. And adding some noise to mass is pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, that is what we will. That's what we'll do. Cool. All right. So let's see here. You start going crazy on the print screen when people have a lot of wrangles. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Interesting. I was just thinking. Yes. So this is interesting. So. Let me just look at this. Attribute noise float. Does this have anything different on it? I'm just trying to remember if this is at all different, because I'm just looking at this now and realizing that this will be doing it along. This will be just doing it randomly in space, and I'm just trying to. Oh, location attribute. That's what I can do. Let me think here. Yeah, let's just add a rest attribute to these, and that should work. We can just have it color along the rest. Yes, that was what I was just thinking. I was like, wait, do I do ID on this? But no, I can do it because it needs to be positional, right? Because it's using a 3-dimensional noise here. It's using P. That's the attribute. I was like, what am I not thinking of here? Okay, so let's do a rest position here. And we can just do that. And then we should be able to, let's see here. Yeah, we should be able to just, let me try to think here. There's no way to do that here. Yeah, there we go. There it is, rest position. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Side Effects, for putting rest position in there. Okay, so this is going to help us out. So what we can do is we can do this in rest position. You shouldn't actually see any difference here because the rest is the position, right? But when we go to the next frame, it should stay exactly the same. right? So all of the colors and things like that will stay the same. And so the nice thing about this is that it's going to, like as these chunks, as this kind of spreads out, we're going to have more, just basically it's going to give us a bit more diversity in these individual like pieces when they're getting hit with that wind. It's some of them are going to go through it. Some of them are going to get affected by it a bit more. The other thing I'm going to do is let's bring this down a little bit. Maybe we'll make it a little bit more like this. And let's set the minimum value to be like, I don't know, 0.25. And then maybe the max value is like 2, something like that. And then we can have some chunks that kind of go through. Let's take a look at this here. So we should see that these lighter color ones are going to slow down a bit more and get disturbed by it, by this movement a bit more. At least I think. Oh, I didn't uncheck the mass thing probably. Yep, there we go. I'm like making a liar of me again. Nope, just didn't press the button. Yep, there you go. So now you can see that these inside pieces are going to stay a little bit more here, and there's going to be some of these that come out further. What I want to do though is I don't want there to be quite so much kind of on the top end of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remap this a little bit more. So we've got sort of more in this range here where we've got some outliers that kind of stick up a little bit more like that. We could also do this uniform with outliers and maybe make this a little bit you could make this value maybe a little bit lower, but I actually think this will be fine. Let's see, Lord was asking, what's the mass attribute for? Do you apply a noise in it so it can have a different mass and fall off differently? Yes, so this mass attribute, the particle simulation POPs network knows what to do with that basically when it's coming in. So when you're sourcing that in, we're sourcing the attributes here, right? So those are getting inherited here. So all of those attributes are coming and then living in this POP simulation. And the attribute, is for a random mass, and it's between 0.25 and 2. And so we're just kind of giving this first bit a really long lead up, and then there's just a small amount that's going to go up to this full 2. So when we come in here and now do this simulation, we should have a little bit more in this like main body of the explosion and fewer of these that kind of spread out like that, So we're going to have some more of this kind of big chunk, and that's where we're going to have more, turbulence in the simulation, but also we're going to have more, what's the word? Sorry. Drag. We're going to have more drag in there as well. So that's kind of the idea. And, that's what we're going to try here. And the other thing we could also do, kind of as I'm thinking of this, I do like how the simulation is looking, but let's just try something here. We could also do, let's see here. Could do this and just do one frame and just see how this goes. That's not bad. So the difference here is that we only have one frame of sourcing that's happening. Which, seems like it's working out okay. And if we wanted that to be a little bit thicker, we could always come in here and say something like this. Add some more to the trailing separation, make it a little smaller. It's going to give us a little bit more points. But actually, I don't like how chunky this is looking up here now. Now it looks like we've got too big of a chunk there. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to undo that. There's always so many different ways you can kind of go about this. I'm going to leave this at 3. And there we go. Just another reminder too, if anybody wants to, I just saw some comments there in the chat about, ways of, seeing code and typing it back in and things like that. If you're ever interested in any of the HIP files, you can find those on on the Houdini Hangout Discord. So go to the link there and, you should find them. So, if you can't find them, just ping somebody on there and, we'll point them to you. I think it's HH HIP files or something like that. You should be able to find it. But let's take a look at this again. There we go. There's our explosion. Yeah, I like that. We've got those kind of spiky things happening, which is nice. Maybe we even turn this down a little bit more. Maybe we do like this. Let's see where that gets us. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Getting kind of a nice little spread there. And these bits inside are going to move around quite a bit more than anything out there. You can see that the red ones are just kind of traveling on their own. They're not really getting anything to bring them back. So that's cool. That's looking good. Great. All right, so let's keep that in mind. The other thing we could possibly do here is we could change the outward expansion down a little bit here, because we don't really need it to get as big as it's going to get here. Like, the outward expansion, like, it doesn't need to, go on forever. Like, we're going to have, let's see here, let me turn this down a little, even more. And that's kind of cool as well. And then we could even turn down this pop wind. And the reason I'm thinking of doing this is, let's just turn this down a little as well. The reason I'm thinking that this might be interesting is because we're going to add some smoke to this, right? And we really don't want there to be a ton of space that this is going to take up, right? Because the more space it takes up, the slower it's going to be. So let's do this. Let's take a look at this here. Yeah, that's looking good. No, so do we do particle or transfer to smoke? Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is use a smoke sim after this and emit from these as particles, right? Because when you look at this here, you can see that each of these kind of has a trail coming off of it. And yeah, so the cool thing about Houdini is that we're going to have access to all this data no matter which way we go, right? So what we can do now, right, is we can say, let's put a null down here, and we can just give ourselves a little intermediate point here. We can just say, let's see, we'll just call this like blast particles or something like that. I don't know. I color the intermediate ones yellow so I can find them in my network easy. But there's that, right? We've got these little bursts coming in here, right? Cool. So we've got this going. We've got a little sim here. Actually, that is moving a little too much on the inside there. So let's cut that back. We're going to cut this to 2. Do this. I just want to see kind of what our movement is in the middle. See if I can see that at all. Yeah, it's kind of still moving too much in there. Let's do 1.5. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's see what size that's getting to. Oops. It's still pretty big. Yeah. Okay. I'm good with that. Then we've got some secondary style motion going on in there. Maybe we'll just kind of split the difference a little here. A lot of times it's just figuring out what these little settings are. And every time you do it, when you tweak something, it's going to be a ripple effect down and things like that. So you don't always know. So, okay. So we've got this simulation. Now, the one really nice thing that I actually didn't do before was when I was playing around with this, I didn't export this, this rest attribute from our Pyro burst source. And that's going to be really, really helpful. Let's come down here and let's do... Let's try to do this. Sorry, it was just, not that. Let's do an attribute delete. The other thing I'm going to do here, and it's usually a good idea whenever you have a DOP network, is just give it, tell it what object you want to grab. And so this, I'll just usually say pop star because we only have one pop object in there. And these wildcards will basically just say anything that has the word pop in it, just, output that, any object. And so that's just going to be our pop object. We could also come up here and just say pop object to be a little more clear, but that way if you have any colliders or things in there, they won't get exported out of that. They won't be coming out this output. Okay, so let's come in here and let's select some attributes. I like to do this as delete non-selected and then just select the ones I want. So I want color, I want position, obviously. It's not going to delete position. Velocity, age could be nice. Let's take density. Let's see, ID is good. We could get life. We could get mass. We'll definitely want rest. Grab p-scale as well. So we've got a nice little list of things, but that gives us a few less that we need to worry about. Great. Oh, a speed attribute. Yes, speed will be nice. Yes, so we will need that actually in a little bit. So, let's just do that right now. Speed attribute will be very helpful because we're going to do something with that in a little bit. So let's just do this right now. We'll do the point velocity and let's use this. This is an easy way to calculate speed right here. And we can just keep incoming. We don't need to do any of this point velocity stuff. We'll just keep the incoming and just calculate the speed. And that's going to give us a speed value. And that's just the length of the velocity, right? That's just the length of this velocity. V at V. Yep, exactly. That's the speed. So there we go. We've got that going. Cool. All right, so that's our blast particles. That should be good for right now. Let's come down here and start doing, let's do some pyro source. I know that seems a little strange to do, but we could do this to add some things into our values here if we wanted to. So we could just initialize, source some smoke from this. We could do that and just override the density and things like that we had from before. You could add some temperature in there if we wanted to. We could also initialize the color and alpha. So that's things that we'll need when we're using the solver, the smoke solver, pyro solver. So we could do all that stuff. That's good. We don't have to, I guess, because we do have some color information on there right now. Although, what is the color there? It's just a gray color, I think. What am I visualizing here? I'm visualizing mass. So that's our grayish color there. Based on the mass, yeah. Are you talking to me, Fractaler, about the mass earlier? Because yeah, I thought that's a nice little thing to kind of add some interest in there. I turn this off. Yeah, I guess we don't really need this pyro source. I had it before when I was playing around with it, but I wasn't even thinking that this pyro burst source has added in things like density for us already. Yes. Yep. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So you can do all sorts of stuff with that. So yeah, the other thing we could do here as well, we could take the burst components. We could add a little bit of noise here too. We could noise up the density. That's interesting. Added a point node. Interesting. I don't know why I did that. Oh, that's randomized. Interesting. I would put that here. I don't know why that was going up there. That's strange. So what we could do here is we could use this if we wanted to noise up the density, if we'd like to. So we could do this and just do noise. And that would be a way to change, oops, sorry, did I select the mass there? I did, didn't I? anyways, we could adjust that with the density and things like that. So we don't have to. I'm going to leave it for right now, but yeah, you certainly can do all sorts of stuff there. All right, so we're down here. Let me think. Yeah, so that should be good. Let's add some color information here as well. We could do that a couple different ways. We could actually do it after the sim if we wanted to, like, since this is already like, well, we actually just dirtied it, but since this is already cached and we have all the rest positions of these different particles, when we come down here, we could just add could just do attribute adjust color, I think, here. Although, yep, we could do it just like that. We could do this in rest position. And now it's going to keep those colors stationary throughout the whole thing, right? Because we're coloring it based on the rest position of the initial points. So that's kind of helpful for us. And we could do the same type of thing here. Do like, nope, actually that's too much. Let's do 0.5. One's kind of nice, actually. Kind of play around with this a little bit. Maybe even, yeah, maybe like 2 is good. And we could, you know, kind of see what we want here. Yeah, maybe like that. I don't know. I'm just going to go for some random kind of rainbowy colors that are already here. You can do whatever color you want. This is, just happy accidents. I've been watching a lot of Bob Ross randomly recently. So there we go. Something like that's kind of nice. It'll give us some nice color randomization. Yeah, and you can see it's not going to change over time, which is exactly what we want. Cool. And so since we had that rest attribute, we can do that just like that. My mic always reminds you of Garmonica. What is that? I don't know what that means. I don't know what Garmonica is. I'm going to have to look that up. I hope that's a good thing. Does my mic sound bad right now? I'm surprised. Yeah. R.I.P. Bob. Is my microphone... Let me make sure I've got the right microphone going in here. That looks right. Oh, it sounds great. Okay. Well, that's good. Hopefully it's, yeah, a mouth harmonic. Cool. Well, hopefully that's good. I try to have decent audio, but yeah, you never know. Oh, talking about a harmonica. Hey, thanks, Lucas. Anyways, so we've got these particles here. Let's do volume. I always forget the order of these. Volume, rasterize attributes. There we go. It's going to throw us into this world, and we should only have the... Oh, right. Well, it's not rasterizing anything because I got to select the attributes. So let's go in here and grab density. Let's grab velocity. Let's grab CD, and let's grab alpha. We need alpha. That is the only one that we didn't do. Okay, that's fine. I can just add alpha here. Can just do an attribute create. Call this alpha. I think, let me just see what this attribute was actually, because I don't remember exactly which one it is, and it's hard to remember everything, right? Let's do this. Let's do alpha. Done. Easy enough. Okay. The default value is 1. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something weird. It is also capitalized, so I guess I would have done that wrong. So that's good. Let's do that. Alpha. Great. The visible volumes, we can just do density. We don't need to have them all visible. And we'll adjust this voxel size in a little bit. And I also think we're going to want to do our velocity blur here. I think that's going to be pretty helpful because we've got some fast moving stuff. And let's up our particle scale just a little bit here. So we've got some more size to work with. like so. So, sorry, I should talk about what that is, right? So, alpha works with the, oh, that looks fun. Alpha works alongside of the color value to color the smoke, right? So, when we come down to this next thing, which is going to be a pyro solver. Wow. Okay. That makes sense. I'm like, why is that not coming up? Just can't type. All right, Pyro Solver, there we go. Really nice thing here is we can do some really easy initializations here. So we can say initialize smoke. We can say, where was it? Add color source. There we go. And so that basically just set it up. Those two things is like, okay, your smoke is set up. In fact, I don't even need this temperature because I'm not going to really do any buoyancy or anything like that. And we can turn that off anyways, like that. Yep. So yes, when we look at the sourcing here, we'll see that we, under the color, we have the source volume, the target field, the source weight, and the target weight. So the alpha is the weight of the color, right? So it's like the transparency. Exactly. Oh yeah. I cool effects. I know what a harmonica is. Sorry. I just didn't realize with the G on it. I was like, I didn't know what a garmonica was. So I was like, oh no, is that a bad thing? But yeah, a harmonica. Sure. I know what a harmonica is. Lucas is saying, yeah, he likes to use pull for velocity. Yep. You can do that as well. You can do this where you pull, and that gives you this option for acceleration and deceleration strength. So here, what we're going to get into is we're going to start having some, we're going to be able to start solving for things here, and that's going to be good. Colors are going to be happening and things like that. The one thing that I noticed was kind of important here was turning down, what was this set to by default? Because I actually had this on this, so it was fine. Let's do 0.1 for the source scale, because we actually don't really want a ton of velocity on these these grain particles as they're kind of coming out. So let's do that. Now, the other thing, too, is we don't really have a lot of... Oh, we do have a lot of voxels here. Holy moly. We got lots of voxels going on there. So we got too many. So we need to change the voxel size of this, and we need to have it match... Just looking at this here. Yeah, compress the output at the end. Yeah, of course. Yep. But the solver is still going to be solving on all of those. So still a lot of voxels. Hey, Zach, welcome. Cool VFX. I think we need to remove all velocity, keep gravity, and add drag. Yeah, we can do some of that stuff for sure. What I'm going to do here is... There was a couple things I wanted to add here. First of all, I always do... where is it? Fields. I always add speed in because I'm going to use that. Oh, dissipation. That was what was probably causing the issue. In this case, we don't really want to have dissipation because the bursts should, like... It shouldn't be just like going all over the place. It's dust, so we want it to kind of stay in the air and remain a bit. Maybe I have done some things that I'm not going to be as happy about. So let's just change some things here and see how this goes. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Okay. So let's go over here. So we can do this, convert it to VDB. Don't need this output. We don't need, nope, that's right. We need that. Great. Yep. It's starting to do what we want. So the reason that I wanted to reduce the what do you call it? The reason that I wanted to reduce the velocity is because if you take this and you have the velocity at full, let's take a look at what that looks like. I should have shown that first. So let's revert that to defaults, and let's do this here. What you're going to see is a lot of this kind of mushroom capping effect. And basically what that means is that your velocities are kind of like getting blasted super fast, and it's going faster than a lot of than any of the surrounding things, or, you know, the surrounding velocities and stuff like that, which are stationary. And so you're getting this like billowy kind of mushroom cloud look on the end of these. And that's definitely not what we want. We don't want that to be the case. And so instead of that, when we turn this, let's try the pull thing too and see what happens here. See if we get any better results with that. It can avoid that, it looks like. But it doesn't look like we're getting as nice of kind of starting bits of it. I mean, I guess we could do the acceleration strength a bit higher. And we could probably turn this down as well. We could change this to like 0.2. Sorry, I'm going to copy this parameter, and I'm going to go up to the volume rasterized attributes. I'm going to paste relative references, and I usually like to have this a little bit higher resolution. So let's do that. So give it a little higher resolution when it's sourcing, and then in the simulation itself, it shouldn't be quite so high. Yeah, so let's do this. Let's try that. Let's try the sourcing with this at 5 or something like that. Direction strength. I see. Okay, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Hey, bud. Yeah, that's getting a little messy there. So let's try this. Let's see. What'd I do? See your CP going. Yeah, I could do that in a second. All right. Let's see here. So let's just double that and see if that does anything for us here. I don't know. I think I'm getting better results with just with an regular ad, just a low ad. Oh, bummer. Yes, the camera did freeze. Sorry, give me a second. There we go. All right, let's try that. Give me 1 second here. Oh, no problem, Lucas. Yeah, happy to do that anytime. Nope, it's not quit the stream. Definitely not. Definitely not the stream. There we go. That's something. GG. It's so annoying. Why is it? Sorry. Hold on a second here. Okay, that's all right. I don't know. That's really annoying. I hate that. Um, yeah, it's not picking it up. Okay. Hello. All right. Hopefully we're all good other than my silly camera. Unfortunately, that's probably just going to have to stay the way it is for whatever reason. Not sure why that's the case, but it seems like that is going to be the situation. Sorry, let's do this. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yes, I do need a second PC for streaming. I would love that. I might do that with my work PC. I don't really know. It's I've got to buy more stuff to do that, unfortunately, and set up everything all differently. So yeah, I would love to do that. That was my plan when I built a new machine. But anyways, that costs money. So, um, okay, where were we here? Let's see. All the things. Yep. Mini PC. Yeah, I could do that. I was kind of more thinking like I wanted to do um something that would be, oh, that's funky. That's really weird. Some weird velocity happening there or something. What did I do? Getting weird spikes. Nice. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Um okay, so what I usually like to do with my simulations, if you've ever or my smoke stuff, is go into the shape, do some disturbance, and use a control field, which we're going to use the speed in this case. We've calculated that over in the fields here. That'll calculate a speed field. And so we can do a control range. And I always make the control range up from 0 because I don't want there to be any disturbance on stuff that isn't moving. Yeah, exactly. Microsolvers, basically. Yep. This is sort of like the old school microsolver way of doing it, but it's built right in, and you can just not have to add disturbance in and do all that kind of crazy stuff. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna do like 0.25 on that, and maybe go up to something like, I'm gonna go back to the beginning here. Maybe something like 5 because it's moving pretty quick. So let's try that. Let's add a bit of disturbance in, like maybe, I don't know, like 20. And I think the base block size, we want to get quite a bit larger on this here. So like, I don't know, maybe 1, because like this is a pretty big simulation. Maybe we do like 0.5. I don't know. Well, let's see what happens here. See if we get any interesting disturbance stuff. Oh, Cool was asking if I could do this. I'll show this for a second here. Here you go. Here you go, Cool. throw this up over here while we're rolling here for a second. There you go. There's my CPU living its best life. Um, you're welcome. No problem. So yes, they probably do. I try not to run too many things. But that is, yeah, that's true. I'm sure they do have a stat overlay thing. So the only thing I'm noticing here is I'm not really getting great resolution from these original like spiky things. So let's just live a little crazy here. Oh, I'm gonna do my setup. Go to 32. I don't think I have that. Yep. I don't think I have Alt R. Nope. No, I don't have that. Or at least I've turned all of those game things off, like the game bar and all that stuff. I've turned that all off. Right. So it looks like if we come in here, yes, the limit box is quite a bit large. You're right. And what I think is happening here is this is what's happening. And so we are getting this really large box being calculated, which is a little unfortunate because we're not actually seeing those nice spikes. So let's do this. Let's take this to here, see if we see any of those spikes now, because those are just like little tiny pieces that are kind of getting blasted off. And I don't think that they're really showing up very well. And they definitely are not. So let's see here. Hi, Lenny. Sorry, Lenny came over to say hello. He wants me to be done streaming so I can come sit with everybody. I'm just gonna play around with this for a second and just see if I can get this to resolve a little bit better, because this is really low resolution right now. Oh, is it that? Maybe. Let's try this. Let's just go a little further with it and see if that gives us, I mean, it's going to give us more, obviously. Let's go back to 0.2. Oh, I remember another thing I did too. I was kind of thinking, I don't really need to be emitting from these points constantly. I only really want to be emitting from them as they're moving, like fast. Yes, I'm not on a 7,000 Threadripper. I wanted to get to one, but I'm not on a 7,000 Threadripper. It's really because of the velocity of those particles, Fractaler, that the bounding box is moving larger. And I'm kind of surprised that we're not resolving these out here very well. Just curious, like how crazy you'd have to go with those. The other thing maybe would be better. Maybe it'd be better to not pass. Try to set velocity to 0. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I'm actually going to try to take the P scale off of here because we're actually going to be kind of fighting that a little bit. Interesting. Maybe that was my problem here all along. Maybe we don't want P scale. Hello. Oh, you just got the 7985. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I would love that. I would very much like that. Okay. So now I don't think we need this. Let's try that. Nice. Okay. Maybe we do 2 on that. Cool. Okay. I'm also going to add in a substep here because it looks like we're stepping a little bit. So let's do that. That should smooth it out a little bit. And what I think we might want to do here is just thinking about this. Just thinking here. Actually, let me see how many voxels this is. Yeah, that's still quite a bit. Let's come back here. I think I might just be too high on this. So let's do this. Just kind of cut that down. Okay, that's too low. Just try to find like a happy medium in here somewhere where we can actually make this work. Cool. Okay, that looks great. So the other thing I'm going to try to do here is only have the particles that are actually moving, right? Like over a certain threshold, because we don't need to be emitting from these particles constantly. Like we could just emit into it and let it kind of do its thing too, right? Like we don't have to have these things continually, continually emitting. So what we can do is we can put a blast down. And since we have this point velocity here, we could blast the particles off, and we could say at speed, at speed, which we have saved out here. Sorry, Lenny wants to be on the stream apparently tonight. So, all right, cool. Let's do at speed less than, I don't know, 5 maybe. He was unhappy. I don't know what was happening, but somebody was unhappy there. We'll change this to points. I need to visualize it to see where things are going. Yep, so there we go. And then it'll... He's with my wife right now. I'm not sure what she must not have given him some treat or something that he wanted. I don't know. Okay. That's going to be good, I think. All right, let's try that. See what happens here. Yeah, there. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening there, but I'm sure he's fine. He's perfectly happy. All right. Let's see here. Where's our meter block? I just want to see what size we've got here. That's a meter. Okay. Let's get a little bit of turbulence in here as well. The other thing I'm kind of wondering is that it seems like now I'm feeling like this is a little too spiky maybe. So maybe what we want to do is just adjust this a little bit more. So we have less of these that are like really flying out there. So let's try that. Let's reset this sim. Maybe, in fact, we go like this, even a little bit more. Good. I'm glad it's not bothering anybody. Good. It's good to hear. Yeah, maybe we'll just turn the mass down to some of those heavier particles, and that might give us a little bit better of a burst shape here. Let's give that a shot. Okay. Let's take a look here, see what happens. Let's get in there and look at these a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's starting to look a little nicer. Cool. Let's turn this back down a little bit to like 0.2. Yeah, I think that's starting to oh man, that's a little TMI, man. That's a little TMI. Okay, looks like we're getting a little bit of this mushroom kind of caps here though, which I'm not super excited about. Well, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the pull method and see if we can't get that to work. Somebody said something about that earlier. Sorry. Where was it? Where was that? Somebody said, "Oh, it's like something 0.5 or something like that." Let me just read these real quick because I don't use this all that often. Target field's values are pushed towards the source volume. Oh, deceleration 5? I see. Somebody said direction speed needs to be like 0.01 or something small. Hmm. Getting a lot of stepping there. Hmm. Hmm. So we're saying let's just cut this down a little bit and see. Just kind of curious, kind of play around with these a little bit. Yeah, see, that's keeping it a little bit nicer through here. The other thing, let's see here. Let's go to the shape. Maybe this is too high. Maybe this is too high as well. Do more crazy numbers and see if it works. Yeah, I'm just going to play around with this for a second here and see what we come up with. Yeah, I think we're starting to get some cool stuff going on here. I am going to probably turn this down a little bit. want to keep some of the stuff in the middle there emitting, I think. I think we lose a little too much of that in the middle. Yeah, so the speed control range is, yeah, the idea with that is that you want to kind of say what the max, like where the maximum level of like the velocities are going to, sorry, the maximum speed, like past a certain speed, you're going to have full disturbance, and below a certain threshold, you're going to have no disturbance. So that's what those two values are. And so you kind of want to like control both of those to keep it working within a certain range. Add essentially accumulates the vectors from the previous frame. Yep. Yeah, exactly. For velocity, you're saying? Yep. So I switched. I do have it in pull right now, so that hopefully will. Yep, exactly. Yeah, in the spreadsheet you're saying earlier, yep, those speed velocities are going to be different than the ones that are in the they're going to be different than the ones that are in the in the volume simulation. But yeah, they're at like 3 later here. So yeah, those are the highest ones are at 3. So if we look at the blasted ones, these are all below 3. So there's not much that'll be getting oops, I went to the end there by accident. There's not going to be much that's going to be getting dissipated there or disturbed. Yep. So at the very beginning, right. So at the very beginning, we probably want to do this more like, yeah, it's probably a good point. No, because anything above 2.5, we're going to get disturbance. Now, we don't want it to go below 3. Just trying to think of how best to do this. Maybe we do this to 5 and... Hello? Can you stop? Possibly? Interesting. Wasn't going back. Maybe we do it like that? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't want to do copy. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's gonna copy will just put the velocity right in there. That's not what we want at all. Okay, I'm gonna make this bigger here. Yeah, I can try 10 to 20. Sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. See what happens. So I really think what I want to do, because it's really not changing it at all. Yeah, exactly. This is you're right, Lucas. This is like all of the simulation world, you just are constantly going in and adjusting these little tiny things. So what I think I actually want to do is let's make this don't have temp, try your density field. Right. Yes, I don't have temperature. You're right. Thank you. Yeah, I guess I could add temperature. Good point. Thank you, Lucas. I wasn't thinking of that. Oh, that's way too crazy. Yep, I just don't have temperature enabled basically right now at all. So let's do this. Let's take the swirl size up. Let's try that out. Good call, Lucas. Thank you. Good call. Yeah, now we're getting some of those nicer details. Kind of a combination of disturbance and turbulence that makes some really nice little effects and stuff like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, let's see here. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to close this because we're not really looking at that right now. Let's just do this. Let's make a little flip book. See what happens here. Yeah, it might be a little bit too much disturbance. Might be too much turbulence too, actually, but we can turn down the disturbance a little bit. Okay. Yeah, let's try that. Let's turn this down a little here. I kind of think that's going to be the. Yeah, we'll see. Kind of feel like that's going to be the turbulence actually, but we'll see what happens here. Sequence list here. We'll see what the difference is. Yep, nothing. No difference. Okay. So okay, let's escape that. Yeah, nothing changed there. Interesting. That's really bad that nothing changed. Let me set this back to kind of where I thought it should be. Maybe that. Maybe this actually. Let's change it to that. Let's change it back to where it was. And let's maybe make this bigger and this a little smaller. Maybe like that. See what happens. Hopefully that will have a difference. Definitely seeing something different. That's good. Okay, good, good, good. Yes. Yeah, adding some noise to the point position post sim help here. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I kind of like what it's doing now. Now it's feeling like what I was kind of expecting for it to do, and I don't really want it to. It would be awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I don't want it to have too much yeah, like the end, like the pieces that are kind of flying out um they should be pretty straight. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, no, I don't think pull is doing that. I think straight is shrinking back. Okay, I'm going to stop this for a second here. I just want to see something really quick because I am struggling with an idea right now. Okay. Hello? Oh, hit my numlock. You see the simulation pulling back? Is that what you're saying? I don't see anything pulling back. I might just be missing it. So what I'm going to do here is a couple things. First of all, we're working on the density field. I'm going to use a control field here, and I'm going to use speed for this. And I'm going to do something sort of similar where when it's below a certain threshold speed, maybe 0.5, that is going to make sure that it doesn't, that's actually maybe too high. Maybe we'll do 0.25. Let's see if that does anything for us here. Because I don't want this middle to be like bubbling and going crazy. Feels a little too chaotic. Also, it could probably go a little higher with this and maybe a little lower with this. So let's try that. Did I add another one in here? Let's see where this goes. All right, that's starting to kind of do something that I'm liking there. Yeah, maybe over 2.5 or 3 with that speed there. Yeah, I could see that. Could get into that. Have both of those sort of doing the same type of thing. Yeah, we could definitely do a lot of stuff with custom velocity fields. Yeah, custom velocity fields are always really nice, especially if you want to do something super, super specific. Yeah, agreed. That's always very nice. So now so when you change those control ranges, don't forget that that's going to reduce the intensity a lot of your simulation because it's giving an upper threshold where the value is going to be 1 and the lower threshold where it's going to be 0. So that's remapping it, right? I think this is starting to look pretty nice. I'm liking where this is going at least. And I think what I want to do is try to bring this over into Solaris and yeah, more to cook for sure. Yep. Always more. There's always so much more. So I think what I'm going to do is let this kind of simulate out and see where we get with it. And maybe in the background, I'm going to go over to Solaris and we can do some fun stuff there. And we can also do this as well. We could take these and our particles here, right? Because that's going to be kind of a nice little juxtaposition, right? We've got our particles and our simulation, or our smoke. So we could kind of do those both together. So maybe we should try that. Yeah, let's do this here. But yeah, that's starting to do some kind of fun stuff. I mean, it's not quite this where you've got all this craziness, but obviously you've got some resolution limitations and things like that right now. I'm doing this live, so I don't want to be um um Lucas, I think you can put if you want to put a link, just hop over to Discord if you can. That would be cool cuz like that would be probably a better place to do that. And yeah, I think YouTube will give you annoyance for that. Hello? What? My reference? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the reference. Yes. Sorry, I wasn't you're a little yeah, it's behind. Yes. Yeah, oh definitely. It has tons of particles. Yes, for sure. For sure. Lots of resolution there. Let's do a null here. And cool. Yeah, perfect. Oh, nice. Great. Thanks for dropping that in there. Let's just say colored smoke. And that's a green. Maybe that's a green as well. How many particles? Yes. All the particles. Every particle. Every voxel as well. Holy cow. Okay, so let's do this. I'm just going to come up here. I'm going to do a lop network. Yeah, YouTube's weird like that. I don't understand. They don't want anybody leaving their website. That's why. All right, let's do a couple. Got to open this up because that's important in Solaris. Let's do a SOP import. We'll grab those particles. Huh, interesting. That does not also do it like that. Very interesting. Yeah, smoke is a filler in that shot. Well, this is actually, I think this is real. I'm pretty sure. If I remember correctly. Uh, duh, duh, duh. Yeah, I think this is actually real. I think. Anyways, um, his part of yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I do remember Adam doing some cool stuff. Adam Schaub. Yeah, that's cool. Um, particles. Okay, cool. Let's to the existing layer. Let's just do some nice stuff here. Let's do slash. Geometry slash OS. We're just going to try to organize this a little bit here. Is there a handy way to put sprites on there too? That's a good question. I don't really know about that on the rendering side of things. You can do that in like you can add sprites in SOPs, but I don't think those are going to come over. I think there's like a card thing you can do. I just don't know 100%. Haven't really dove that deep into Karma. Like I think I mentioned it before. I'm kind of in the middle of doing a course that's going to walk through a bunch of Karma stuff, but that I'm not 100% sure about. If there's like a good way to do like a sprite, but you might be able to. I'm sure there's a way to. I don't know what the exact scenario is there. SOP import here. Let's do. This is going to be dust. And we'll do this, another merge. We'll grab that. Colored smoke. There's that. Cool. Cool. Again, I'm just going to copy this over just to put in a nice place for us. So now we've got that. We've got our dust. We've got our particles. We've got our volume with all of our nice VDBs here. Yeah, sprite particle smoke. It's funny how much like sprite particle smoke can actually like work. Like I'm like the one thing I always think of is like the Balrog in the original Lord of the Rings. Like that was all sprites. Like it's crazy. All right, cool. So we got that. Let's just do some quick surface material for these particles. We'll just call this particle mat. And we'll do maybe a quick, can we do a quick cloud material? What's that going to do for us here? No, that doesn't have that. Okay. That's fine. We can do a material library and we can do Karma. We could do pyro smoke. Cloud material? Okay, sure. We can do that. You shall render a great sim. Oh, we don't need alpha because alpha's not in here. That's right. So we'll do that tint the smoke with CD. Hopefully that will be good. All right, let's do a little quick assignment here. Assign material. Can also do material linker. Oh, I have not used Mantra in years now at this point. So, yep. And I do like, I've had to do so much like work, like teaching stuff in Solaris that, yeah, I'm just pretty much, I'm in it now. It's just my thing. Okay, so let's grab our volume here. Volume, throw a Karma Cloud material in here, grab our particles, throw our particle material in here, and let's just do a Karma Physical Sky for right now. Probably dark would have made more sense, but we'll do this anyways. Wow. Hello? Interesting. Yeah, there we go. We got some smoke. Cool. Oh, geez. Cool. Be safe, man. Geez, that's scary. Maitland was saying pretty stoked about Solaris in general. I usually start out there with a stop create now. Yeah, I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other, sort of a thing. I don't think that the stop create is necessarily the only way that I would recommend going, but it certainly, is will work. You know what I mean? It's certainly great. Oh, you know what? I think we had missing widths on these. So let's just see here. Can we make spheres out of these? Yes. One will make big spheres, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Dude, that's rough, man. I'll hang in there. Be safe. Be safe, man. So what would be kind of cool here to do, maybe instead of making spheres, would be... Yeah, let's do this. Let's do like Maitland was suggesting there. And hey, that's much better. Cool. Let's stick with that for right now. That's just our scenes that's like a dome light in here. So that's just going to be for our scene. It's not going to actually be what renders out. So let's call this little thing, let's call this debris. And let's come in here and make a sphere with a mountain sop. And let's just do this as like a polygon. And we'll just make some little thing here that's going to just be a little shape that we can use. Great. That will work like that. And so here's our little debris piece, right? I turned the grid off, so I'm like losing where I am in space. So let's do this instead. Let's take... Let's not do our particles here. Let's get rid of those. Let's do an instancer here. Let's throw our debris in there. And let's do an object merge in here. We can grab our particles like this. Just say get particles. Like so. Let's do an output just in case we do some weird stuff in here. We'll just do that. And then we can do this. And what do we have here? Do we have p-scale on this? We don't, right? No. So we could just do float like this, and this will be fine. And we can do random, go by ID. Should stay good. And we can do like 0.1, something like that. Or no, we'll do 0. Maybe like that. Let's get some random scales on them. There we go. Now we've got some like random little chunks flying around. And we could also do some Let's see. We could just do a normal. I mean, it's going to be fine. We could do an attribute adjust vector. We could just change this to something like normal. We can do random. Go by ID. And that should give us random normals on all of these. Let's hide the other stuff. And let's do this zero centered. And enable post process, and we'll just make these all unit length. That's fine. Cool. And that should randomize all of these little rocks and bits and pieces and stuff in there. So now we've got one little rock that's going through all that stuff. So that's cool. And then we can do this here. Let's do this under geometry. And we'll say, what did we call those before? I don't know. We'll just call it chunks. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. And let's just go back to our assign material. And we'll just, oops, no, that's right. We're going to change this to chunks here. And we can make them like, I don't know, like a, oh, we have the color coming through, but those aren't being seen on them. Interesting. We're not getting the colors. I don't think. Are we? Let's see here. Yeah, display color is there. Let's see. Let's just throw a render in here and see what happens. Stop highlighting those. Oh yeah, they are getting the color. Cool. Yep, because we have display color on, and that's being read in our edit material properties here, display color. So that's great. So it is actually seeing those little chunks, and that's fantastic. And what we could do is we could just adjust these a little bit more to be maybe 0.1 to 0.2. Cool. Maybe what would be a little bit more interesting even would be to make these like, I don't know, like maybe we do like an area light over here or something. This whole simulation's too big, but whatever. So maybe we do like a big area light over here like this. Let's just do a karma render. We can maybe get some idea of what's happening here. Bump up the exposure a little bit more, maybe. Yeah, the scale's all wrong, Lucas. I just did it quickly. Let's do that. And then volume limit. Oh, yeah. Right. I didn't even put a camera setting in here yet. Yes. Volume. Who would want to turn it up? Um, I think what I'm going to do is do like a point light from over here, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what is a good idea? Hit it at 32? Hit it at 32. Yeah. The It's like, hit what at 32? What are you talking about? No. Lucas, you're evil. No. No. Very diminishing returns past a certain point. Oh, my point light is down below. That's annoying. There we go. Okay. Let's actually, yeah, let's pull the area light around. Let's go look through that light. Where is that? How do I do that? Here, yep. Right click on it, area light, and let's move this back this way. Oops. Didn't lock it. All right, let's grab a camera here. Let's throw that in somewhere here. Yeah, definitely doesn't do a whole lot past a certain level here. What it would be, hello, why are we getting an error here? Not sure what that error means. Let's come in here and take a look at this. I did want this a little higher anyways. And let's see here. Yeah, that anisotropy is really... Whoa, full one. Yep, don't want that. Maybe we do that and then just have a little bit of like a... Maybe do like an HDRI or something, or... Blocking the light in at 0. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure it means something. HDRI, let's do the skylit garage just to give it a little something here. And I'm going to turn the exposure down on this quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know. That's starting to do. Blocking light in at 0 on the cloud material. The light in. Like this? I don't know. Too thick? Yeah, might be a little too thick maybe. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's something. Again, I am not a rendering expert. So yeah, another rabbit hole for sure. Can throw in the little optics denoise around this if we wanted to, get a little cleaner output from this. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. It's a perfect render. It's perfect. Anyways, yeah, well, we're right at about 8 o'clock, so I think it's the course on Side Effects website was so nice. Wow, that's good. Yeah, that's great. Hopefully my more conceptual walkthrough of Karma will be good, as opposed to like, here's how you do every single different type of different effect. But yeah, there we go. We've got something going on here. Yeah, maybe we. Yeah, it's a team creation. Exactly. I agree. I'm gonna come back in here though and make a executive decision. There we go. I like it a little thick. Like the cloud a little thicker. Yeah, it's fun. Don't smoke. 100%. Do not do it. I don't understand why anyone does. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, everybody, thanks so much for joining and being part of the stream tonight. I don't have my camera, so we won't be doing any like big face talk at the end like I normally do. But thank you all for joining so much. If you would like to join the server, go to HoudiniHangout.com for a little server invite link there. And yeah, we'll see you on the Discord, and you can ask questions and chat and all that type of normal Discord-y stuff, and make some topic suggestions. I did have a topic suggestion about doing more stuff in Solaris, and I'm not sure. Like, it kind of needs to have some sort of it's a lot of like conceptual stuff. So if you're interested in stuff about Solaris, go into the topic suggestion. There's a little thing in there. And I kind of said like, hey, does anybody have any suggestions on how we could actually like show this or like talk about this? So that would be a cool thing to hear about from there. Alonzo was just asking something. Without using Pyro Burst Source, what are some other alternatives of making a good source? I mean, honestly, you could just start with a really noisy sphere and like source particles from that. That can work sometimes. Scattering a bunch of points and adding velocities on those that are kind of going away from the origin, and then noising that up and stuff like that. Big face talk. Yeah, exactly. So there's a few different ways that you could do that, Alonzo. So, looking at like custom velocities and things like that are probably a good way to go about that, and I think would maybe get you, could get you some really cool stuff. So, yeah, hopefully that helps give you some more ideas or whatever. So, right. But I think that's where we'll end this thing for today. So again, thank you all for joining and for for being here and commenting and chatting and all that kind of stuff. Always fun to have lots of people talking and popping ideas around and having different thoughts. Thanks to everybody for giving me suggestions on, parameters to poke at and make things better. And yeah, feel free to go online and grab this and play around with it a little bit if you'd like and see how it, maybe how much better it works on your new machines than mine. But yeah, it's always fun to, oh, there you go, Lucas. Lots of great, Foxide's got really cool tutorials. Way cooler, a million times cooler than mine. So yeah, go check theirs out. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here and have a great rest of your evening. Get some rest if it's like 3 a.m. or have a great day if your day's just starting. So thanks everybody for watching and we'll see you all later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.